Hi guys, welcome to my first video on YouTube. And this video will be discussing mainly about the basics of the Linux environment or of the GUI interface. So for this video, we are going to be making use of the Git Bash. Yeah, so Git Bash. Git Bash is one of the graphic user interfaces that we could use to access our Linux environment basically. There are other applications or softwares that you could use to access the Linux environment. But for the purpose of this video, we are going to be making use of Git Bash. The first things first is we need to download Git Bash. Yep, we need to download Git Bash. So you just go to your browser, type Git Bash download. Yep. So you see this first pop up here. This one. Click on it and let it load for a while. I think it should be loading anytime soon, unless my internet provider is acting up. Yep. Yes, sir. So this is the Git environment, the Git website. Now we have the Mac option, we have the Windows option, we have the Linux option. But because I'm using a Windows device, we'll just go for the download for Windows. So you see this part, this is for me and for my system. If you are using a Mac OS, you can just click on this link, and if you're using a Linux system, you can click on this link. You get it. So yeah, but I had already downloaded it, so I'm just going to like open it, and together we can install our software and watch it run. Yep. So you see that pop up, you click on yes. Look at this, click on next, next. Would you like to install it? Yes. Because I had already previously installed it, so yeah. Click on next, next, use Vim. Yeah, so this option you could use any one of your choice, but it's good to just leave it as default because it's the Git default editor. So yeah, you click on next, let Git decide. Git from the command line, use Git from Git bash only, Git from command line, also third party software. So it's good to use third party softwares because during the course of this program we'll be making use of VS Code and other softwares that we'll use to like write our codes. Yeah. Next, 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 next. You don't really need to like change anything basically. Just click on next till everything is done. So while this is loading, I'll just give you like a brief breakdown of how my software journey is about to start. So currently I work as a graphic designer, as a creative designer rather. Working as a creative designer, I've been trying to like change fields and change or move into tech basically. So yeah, this is one of the ways I'm trying to like break into tech. So I signed up for the old school program, and the old school program started 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I'm currently enrolled into the old school program on my way to becoming a software engineer. So in order to be accountable and keep the progress reports coming frequently, I'll be making a video every week, summarizing everything I've learned during the course of the week and everything they taught us during the course of the week. I may skip some details, but basically the general basics and the knowledge of how the whole program is progressing, that's what I'll be dropping on these videos. And for those of you that are also signed into the old school program and you are currently facing a challenge, like you don't understand something, you could just watch these videos, and together we can solve some of these problems. So now our Git Bash has been installed, and you can just click on launch Git Bash. It's been installed already, so just launch Git Bash. Yep. Now this environment is what is known as our Git Bash Linux environment. Can you see? This is our Linux environment, nothing on it. So to increase the size of the text, you can just hold Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, plus 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 plus. Depending on how visible you want it to be, it could be as visible as this, or it could be control minus to make it as tiny as possible. Yeah. But for the purpose of this video, we need to like make it very very big because it's going to be a tutorial on how on the basics of the Linux commands and the Linux environment. So now that you have your Git bash installed, the first thing is to like what's the Git bash and the graphic user interface about? So it's basically a way you could like communicate with your system or with your laptop or with your device basically. So if you're using a Mac, you could install this as well. If you're using a Windows, you can install this as well. If you're using a Linux environment, you can install this as well. So you could like interact with your computer by accessing some features, rather than doing the basic stuff where everyone would like over their mouse and click on this, click on that, click on it. You could use this Linux environment to access anything you want to access, or access any folder you want to access, create a file, delete a file, move a file, copy a file, like every basic thing you can do with a computer, you can do it within the Linux system because it is like the back door to your device, or more like an um, advanced way of operating your device. So first things first, now we are in our environment and we need to like where are we exactly. So in order to know where you are, there's a code for that, or there's a shortcut for that, which is pwd. What is pwd? Pwd simply means print working directory. So this is just going to basically tell you where you are operating from. So in this case, we are working from the computer. We are working from the computer and we are one of the users under the computer. So when you open the computer, there's a user. There are users, or basically there are series of users. And under this user is my name, Kayode. So this is where we are working from. You understand? There's another way you could like, find out if where you are is like the right place. So you could just say something like, who am I? Who am I? Sorry, who am I? I'm going to tell you your name is Kayode. So if you add like series of users using the computer. So let's say under computer you have users and there's another user that is not Kayode, and you want to know which user you are currently signed into, you could just type who am I. So it's going to tell you Kayode. So we could like move to the computer, move to users and look for the list of names under users. So to do that, we use the cd shortcut. What does cd means? It means change directory basically. So when you're changing directory, it's it's like changing where you're working from. So you could like say from computer users, you could now change directory into one of the users available. But in this case, we want to go back a step. So in going back a step, the simple way is to change directory dot dot. So what does dot dot do? Full stop basically in English. So what does full stop do? It takes you a step back. Let's say you're going somewhere and you saw something and you want to take a step back to like what you saw so that you can go and pick it. Yeah, that's what cd dot dot does. That's change directory full stop full stop. So click on enter. Now as you can see, we are no longer on now as you can see, we are there's nothing serious on the screen, just that we've changed from master to computer users. Now if we want to know where we are, we can print working directory again, print working directory, like I told you before, pwd. We'll be using most of these things more frequently. So by the time we are done with some of these videos, you get used to some of these commands basically. So print working directory, enter. Now you see we are on computer. We are in the computer, and inside the computer we are on the users folder. You get. Now you see my screen is like filled up already, and we need to like clear all these things so that we can, you know, we can have a better view of our environment basically. So a way we can clear our screen is by pressing or typing clear, CLEAR. And what does that do? It clears everything. But then it doesn't change the work we've done before. What it does basically is just to clear your screen and give you a clean interface to work with basically. So now let's print our working directory again. How do we print our working directory? pwd. Now we are in the computers, and in the computers we are in the users folder. Now we want to know how many users are on this folder. Yeah, we want to know how many users are in computer. The way we could know that is by trying to check the list of users in this folder. And the way we can check that is by using the shortcut ls. So what does ls do? Ls lists everything in a folder. Let's say we are in a folder with about 102 files. By just pressing ls, you can list out all the files in that folder, and it's going to list everything else for you. There's a way you can sort it, but that will be like going in depth into it. But for now, we are just focusing mainly on the basics of the Linux environment and how to navigate our way around the Linux, the graphic user interface. So ls to list number of users we have in computer, enter. Now you can see we have all users. This is all users. We have default, we have public, we have Coyote, which is the folder we are coming from, which is known as master. We have default user, and we have desktop.ini. But for the purpose of this video, we'll just have to like stick to what we know, which is Coyote, which is the main user. We can create a user, but that would be like creating a directory. So in every user you see on here on this screen, that's all user, default, public, Coyote, default user, and desktop.ini. They are all directories, and directories simply mean a folder. So you know when you want to put some files in a box, or when you have some files and you need to put them arranged in a way whereby you can easily find them or locate them. This is one of the ways you could group them. So let's say, for instance, let's say we want to make a directory, or we want to make another user with the name alt school. What we can do to make directory is mkdir to make a directory, and you can just use the name you want to use. So in the GUI interface, the GUI interface does not recognize space. So if you use the space, it's going to assume that you are creating two different files basically. So in order to make a file that has space in between, we could either put it in a quotation mark like this and type alt school Africa. Now you see, it cannot make directory. Do you understand? So it needs permission from the main user, which is Coyote. Do you understand now? But now we are going to change our user to Coyote, because we want to stick mainly with what we know. Do you understand? So yeah, we are sticking mainly with what we know. So we are going to change directory. So to change directory, like I said, is cd. But now we want to change directory into Kayode. So we change directory Kayode. Boom. And we are back to master. So if we say we should print working directory, we are in users, we are in the computer. In the computer, we are in users folder, and in the users folder, we are in the Kayode folder. Now we want to see what is inside Kayode. Like, since Kayode is known as the master, obviously I'm the master, but for the sake of this video, since Kayode is known as the master, let's see what is inside Kayode. And how do we list the files in Kayode? By typing ls. Now can you see? These are all the files in Kayode. All the files in Kayode. We have app data, we have application data, cookies, contacts, creative cloud, documents, desktop, and the likes. But all these things are not useful to us. We are only interested in. So in order to do this, we are going to create a folder, and that folder will be named Old School Africa. And in that folder, we are going to create files in that folder. In the Old School Africa folder, we are going to create files in that Old School Africa folder. And in that same folder, we are going to create other folders. So it's like putting an envelope in another envelope. You understand? So it's going to be like a nested envelope, if I can use that term. But now, in order to create it, we need to go to our desktop. So in order to go to our desktop, we have to change directory into the desktop. So the desktop is located in Kayode. Kayode is located in users, and users is located in the computer. Do you understand? This desktop is located in Kayode, and Kayode is located in users, and you can find users in computer. This C might not be C on your own, it might be D, it might be F, it might be G, whatever it comes in. But if you see a single letter like this, just know it is basically for the computer. So, but yeah, like where were we? We're trying to switch into move from Kayode into desktop. So how do we move change directory into desktop? cd desktop, and we've moved into desktop. So now we are in desktop folder in Kayode in users that is located in the computer. I hope you get it. So now we are in desktop. So how do we know what is in desktop? Because now I know what is in desktop because it's my computer, obviously. But then, for the sake of this video, not everyone knows what is on my desktop. So I'm going to create I'm going to like list out the items on my desktop. And how do I do that? Just by clicking or typing ls. So these are the files on my desktop. That's a lot. I'll need to clean them up later, but we could even try and clean some of them up now. What do you guys think? Okay, so for now, let's try and see if we can clean up this Godzilla -1. So in order to remove a file, you use rm quotation mark, then paste. I hope this works. It didn't work, so I think there's an error somewhere. Let's see. Okay, there were no quotation marks. Okay, so let's see if we can remove this first. Let's see if we can remove this. Clear, then remove this. Now this is Now, what this rm simply does is remove a file. You can remove a directory, but in order to remove a directory, use rmdir. It's just the same way you make directory. To make a file, you use mk, then file name. But if you want to remove a directory, rmdir, then the file name. But for now, we removed untitled.prproj. So now we can list and check if it stays there. And as you can see, untitled is gone. We only have zoomworkplace.in, visualstudio.in, books, codes, blah blah blah. So now let's go. Which folder are we locating now? Which folder are we locating? I would love to locate with soft journey. I would love to like move into the soft journey folder. This one. You understand? We could copy it by right clicking with your laptop or control inspect, as you can see. Control inspect. Now we want to change directory into soft journey. And how do we do that? Cd soft journey. Now we are inside the soft journey folder that is located in the desktop, that is located in Coyote. And in order to like do all this thing, we can just pwd to see how everything is going. Yeah, I was going to tell you we are in soft journey. Soft journey is located in desktop, and desktop is located in Coyote. Coyote is located in users, and user is located in computer. I hope we understand all these things. Just follow as I'm giving it, because this video is not going to be that long. Basically, I'll just try and keep it short, and at the end of everything, I hope you guys get to learn a thing or two from everything I've done so far. So yeah, so we are in the soft journey folder. Now I want to know what is inside the soft journey folder, and how do we do that? By listing the items in soft journey folder by pressing ls. As you can see, there are just 3 files in soft journey folder. So now, let's say for instance we want to know what is inside index.html. How do we know what is inside index.html? How do we know? How do we know? How do we know? So there's a keyword known as cat, C-A-T. So cat is more or less like open this file, not like open this file, just it's going to be like you are telling the computer to like display what is in this file, because it has a .html, so it is a file, not a folder. If it were a folder, it wouldn't have dots at the end. Do you understand? So cat index.html. Let's see what is in index.html. And whoa, this is a lot of HTML code. So this is HTML code. As you can see, this is the head, we have the tags, this is the body, this is figure caption, image, form action, and the likes. So we can see that the file is kind of bulky. But what if we want to like add something to this index.html? Now the index.html contains HTML codes, right? So let's see if we can add an HTML code from outside our VS Code. So in order to do that, we can use the word echo, ECHO. So echo, as the word means to echo something. You want to say something, it's going to project whatever you're saying. So let's say echo, we want to echo the word old school Africa is the best. Now This is echo. What echo does is to echo something. We could use it like this and it's just going to print on the screen. Hotspur Africa is the best. You understand? But in this case, we want to try and push this word Hotspur Africa is the best into our index.html. How is that possible? One may ask me. We are still going to use the keyword echo. Hotspur Africa is the best. Now, where are we pushing this word to? Where are we pushing this sentence into? So we are using the greater than sign, greater than. Oh, I think this is letter. This is the greater than sign, or whichever way you're watching this. This is the greater than sign, and we are pushing it into index.html. Do you understand this? So we are doing echo Hotspur Africa is the best into index.html. So let's do this. Enter. And you see nothing shows. So we are going to list our items. And now we are going to cat. That's we want to see if what we did with this line of code. We want to see if what we did was successful, basically. So if we are going to open index.html, we have to look out for this. If this is inside the index.html, do you understand? So yeah, cat index.html. Can you see? Hotspur Africa is the best. Now it overrides every other thing in the file. Do you understand? There's a way you could do it that you could, like, add it to whatever is in the file, but we are trying to like keep everything basic and simple. So for the case of this program, this is what we are just doing here. So when you open when you check what is inside index.html, you see Hotspur Africa is the best, and with that we are successful with using the word cat index.html. That's to see what is inside the index.html folder. We could try and see what is inside the style.css as well. How do we check that? With cat style.css. Now you see a lot of CSS code, but we are not interested in CSS or HTML for now. For now, we are just going to be like interested in the basics. So now there are we print working directory. We are in soft journey that is located in the desktop folder that is located in Kayode, which is a user in the computer. So in the beginning of this video, our first task was to find our way to the desktop, create a folder that says Hotspur Africa, and in that folder we are going to create files. Yeah. So how do we make a folder in another folder? We use the word make directory. Make directory Hotspur. Now if we do this, it's like looking at this alone, it's going to give us a directory known as Hotspur. But in a case whereby we have a text that needs space, Hotspur Africa, what the GUI is going to interpret this as is that we are either trying to like create two different folders. Let's press enter and see what it does. Now if you list, you are going to see two different folders. Do you understand? We have the Africa and we have the Hotspur. But that was not the main idea for this make directory. That was not how we wanted to use it. So first things first, we need to remove or delete Africa and Hotspur from this folder, which is the soft journey folder. In order to do that, we use remove directory Africa. Sometimes it's case sensitive and sometimes it's not, so you just do Africa you could do it one at a time, which is Africa, or do it the same way you made the mistake, Africa old school. So what this does is remove both folders. Now let's see what is in our folder, in our soft journey folder. As you can see, soft journey. In soft journey, we don't have Africa, we don't have old school anymore. They both been removed, and once you remove once you remove a folder or a file using the rm or r or using the rmmikd, yeah, rmdir, yes, remove directory using the rmdir, those files are gone and gone forever. You can't find them in your website again because this is like an override backdoor access to your computer. Do you understand? An override backdoor access. So yeah, they are gone. But we want to make a folder that says old school Africa. So how do we make the folder again? Mkdir, using the mkdir. So because we want to use old school Africa, and in between old school Africa we have a space. Yeah, we have a space. So in order to accommodate the space, we are going to use quotation marks. Can you see? Quotation marks. And in the quotation marks, we are just going to type old school Africa. Enter. You see? Now, with this quotation mark, the computer recognizes it as just one word. So when you use ls, you see old school Africa, index.html, style.css, and 3.png. 3.png is an image, but I don't think it's going to open on the GUI. Let's try and cat 3.png and see what it says. It's going to give us, oh my god, I think we made a mistake somewhere. How do we stop this? Oh boy. Wow. How did I stop this? I think I pressed Ctrl delete. Yeah, I pressed Ctrl delete. So we were trying to view an image using the GUI and it threw a bunch of errors. My god. These errors are crazy. But then we can just clear our screen and clear. And we are back to default settings. So where are we now? Now that we've thrown a bunch of errors, where are we exactly? Print of video. We are still in soft journey. Now what is in soft journey? We have the image that just threw a bunch of error, the old school Africa, index.html, and style.css. So now we are trying to create a file within the old school Africa folder. There are two ways to do this. Now it's either we go into the old school Africa folder and create the file, or we can create the file from soft journey and push it into old school Africa. And how do we do that? We use the touch, touch. So what does touch do? Touch is the simplest way to create files, create documents, create anything of your choice. So we can say touch index or touch. What do we want to touch? Okay, touch linux.txt file into old school Africa. Now what this does basically is push this file. It doesn't exist in this folder, hope you know. We are just creating this file and pushing it into the folder. Now just press enter. Old school directory is the directory. Old school Africa is the directory. So what this is telling us that we have to go into old school Africa. So how do we change directory into old school Africa? We just do this. change directory, old school Africa. Voila, we are inside the old school Africa folder. Now, if you use the words how to list or check what is inside the old school Africa folder, just ls. Nothing. Nothing. It's as empty as it comes. As empty as it comes because it's a new directory. So in this new directory, we want to create a file known as linux.txt. Yeah. So linux.txt. How did I say we create file again? By using touch. So touch linux.txt. Now if you list, you are going to see linux.txt. But now what is inside linux.txt? What do you guys think is inside linux.txt? Do you think there's anything inside? Because linux.txt is as empty as it comes, just like the old school Africa folder when we just created it. So cat linux.txt, empty, nothing is inside. So how do we put text into linux.txt? By using the word touch. No, by using what's it called? Echo. Yes, echo. What do we want to echo into it? This is our old school Africa text folder. Now, where do we want to push this into? We want to push it into linux.txt. Now, if we cat linux.txt, it's going to show the word we just pushed into linux.txt. Do you guys understand now? I hope this has been able to help you guys understand some of the things we've done so far. So another thing we are going to look at is the move keyword or the move shortcut. So where are we going to working directory? We're in the old school folder in soft journey desktop Kayode user C. So now we want to move okay, let's see if we can create another directory here. It's going to be, how do we make directory? mkdir, that's how you make a new folder. It's called a directory in the text space, but in real sense it is known as a folder. It is known as a folder. So we are making directory, what do we name this directory? Let's just call it Linux, or let's just call it sample 1. You can make multiple folders as well, as long as they are in quotations, or if you don't want them to be in quotations, you could do something like this: sample 1, sample 2, sample 3, as many as possible, sample 4, and let's just keep it at sample 5. Now when you list what is in old school Africa that is located in soft journey list, we are going to see our folder sample 1 all through to 5. So we want to move Linux into let's say sample 3. So we do this mv, that's the short code for move, mv. So mv linux.txt into sample 3. Sample 3 is a directory. We could do mv linux.txt then sample 3. So we are not using the greater than sign anymore. And let's see what it shows. Now, I think that was successful. ls. We can't find our Linux docs, linux.txt file anymore. Where do you think that went? I think it's in the sample3 folder. So in order to check what is inside sample3, we could do add sample3. Sample3 is a directory, so we have to go into the sample3 directory, then list out the items in the directory. Do you understand? So most times we encounter errors like this because we are just focusing on the basics. But I'm sure if we can go in depth into the graphic user interface, most of these things will be sorted out. So we just have to change directory into sample3. Now we are in sample3. This is what is in sample3. Where that's, you see, we can find our linux.txt. So how do we like move it from sample3 to, like, let's say sample5? I don't know actually, but I have a theory that we can move linux.txt into sample5, but I doubt if this is going to work. Did it work? Oh, okay. So what this did was create another folder inside sample3 known as sample5. So if we change directory into sample5, this sample5 is located in sample3. Don't get it twisted. Cat sample5. Oh, okay. So what this did was rename linux.txt as sample5. So it's no longer known as linux.txt. It's now known as sample5. We learn new things every day. Yeah. So let's just see if we can rename this file to what it was before. What's the name? Sample5. So we can, let's say, rename. So how do we rename? The same way we renamed it from linux.txt. The same way we named it from linux.txt to sample5. Same way we are going to name it from sample5 back to linux.txt. So we can move. It's going to rename actually sample5. I think there should be a short code for renaming a file. Sample5 to linux.txt. Now if we list, we have our linux.txt. Now if you add linux.txt, we are going to get, this is our old school Africa text folder. Now we want to go back a step back. You know where we had our sample1, sample2, sample3, sample4, sample5. We want to take a step back and just check what we just want to go outside sample3 and say hello to the other folders. Do you understand? Or the other directories. So what do we do? cd dot dot. It takes us a step back. And when you list, what do you have? Sample1, sample2, sample3, sample4, sample5. Now we want to copy the file that is in sample3 into sample, let's say 5. So in sample3 we have our linux.txt, but in sample5 we have nothing. Let me just check the directory to sample5 so you can see what is in sample5. Sample5. Oh, sorry. Change directory sample5. List empty. So we'll just have to go back a step back and just, now we are back to our sample1, sample2, sample3, sample4, and sample5. We are back to our samples basically. So we want to copy the file from sample3 into sample5. There's a short code for that, which is cd. It's not hard. Most of these things are just simple, basic short codes. CP is for copy. Copy sample 3 into sample 5. Oh, yep. I don't know. Anything directory sample 3. I don't know what's wrong if you ask me. So I think let's see. Copy sample 3 into sample 5. Let's hope this works. Trial by error. But it's not working. Yes. So that's where our elder brother Google comes in. How do I copy a file from one folder to another in the GUI or in Linux in Git bash basically? Yeah, if you use Git bash. So moving a file from one location to another, use the git move command, blah blah blah. Rename a file, yada yada yada, to copy a file from one directory to another. Copy followed by the name of the file you want to copy and name of directory you of the directory to where you want to copy the file. How do you duplicate? How do I move file from one folder to another? Yeah. Guys, learn to use Google. Google is your friend though. Use the move terminal. Move files, how do I move files? So I think what this is saying is we should use the MV move files and the Linux terminal open source. Move a file from one directory to another. So this was the way we moved the file from our soft journey folder or from our old school Africa folder to sample 3. Yeah. Remove by default regardless, we move the file from one location to another. Should a file with the same name like this it gets overwritten, it prevents the file from being overwritten or when you use the interactive. Basically, let's see, how do we remove a file outside so that how do I remove file folder? I think we should work on it so I think I can move or copy an item. So guys, basically what is happening is I'm having issues trying to move a file outside the folder or moving it from one folder to another. I'm thinking of copying what is in sample 3 into sample 5, or we could use move sample 3 to sample 5. Does this work? Oh, sample 3 is gone. So if we try and check what is in sample 5, we're going to find sample 3. Oh. To some extent, it solves the problem. All right, so I think this is where we're going to draw the curtain for today. What else? What else? What else? Okay, so yeah, the last one we're going to be discussing is help. Now you need help on something, and you don't know what exactly you need help on. So, for instance, let's say I don't know how to use the move button. So in the GUI, what we could use is not help but man. So let's say man, for example, CP. What does CP do? Copy a file from one folder to another. Uh okay. Man doesn't work. Help help CP. Used to be man now. Man, so man command not found. Alright, so I guess I have some more reading to do. But yeah, these are the basics I've learned so far. Yeah. Yeah, I hope you guys have been able to like learn a thing or two. And thank you for joining me this long. I don't even know. Let's just see how it goes basically. I hope everything works out well. And in the next 1 year, we'll be coming back to, boost with our first job as software engineer. Alright guys, see you guys next week. Ciao. Peace.